Wagwan, everyone, and welcome to Film Shrapnel, your one-stop spot for everything movies. My name's Tobias.
And my name is, unfortunately, Craig.
Whoa, that was so self-hating, man.
No one likes my name. It's not a nice name. It's a name that you can say, like Craig. It's a demeaning name. You can shout it, and the person feels like shit.
I mean, Daniel Craig played James Bond, who's like the coolest motherfucker ever. So
as a surname, it works. As a first name, it doesn't work. If it was Craig Daniel, would you take him so seriously? I don't think so.
What about Craig Charles?
But you know, he's Scouse, so it works. Maybe it's just when it's me, it's shit. Any name you give me is shit.
I don't know. I think you're all right. Holy shit, man. It started dark.
You're too nice. You're too nice. This is your downfall.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to everyone out there listening. Today, me and Craig are going to have a little chat, aren't we, about a really funny film, like weird funny. I mean, we are doing 1978's Spiritual Kung Fu, which is a Jackie Chan film before America had any knowledge of Jackie Chan. It's so good, though. Well, it's not, but I love it.
Yeah, it's like an early Jackie Chan film, you know, when he's just really getting started, just starting to break out and make his own kind of thing.
I think this may be like not even 5 years after Bruce Lee died.
I was just going to say, when did Bruce Lee die?
What was it? Was it 73 or 74? He died 3 weeks before Enter the Dragon came out. He never got to see the cultural impact his film made.
Yeah, I see he died in 1973, so it's exactly about
73.
5 years later.
Okay. But this is like, I suppose this is like running on the coattails of some of Jackie's earlier, like, I think this was the sort of time that Jackie was really exploding as a solo star in Hong Kong and China. But yeah, this movie is a bit strange. I'll tell you why we picked this movie, right? So when I was a kid, Craig, my dad loved movies. I love movies. And my dad bought this box set of VHS tapes, and it was Dragon Fist, this film, but it was titled Karate Ghostbuster, not Spiritual Kung Fu. And the third film was a film called Snake and Crane, Arts of Shaolin. And I've got very fond memories of all three of these films. I loved these movies.
I haven't really seen many like martial arts movies from like the 70s and before, even. Well, most of the martial arts stuff I've seen really is from like 90s onwards, and most of it has Jackie Chan in it, by the way.
Yeah. He's dominated the genre.
Yeah, he has. And like apart from like Jackie Chan stuff, I've only seen a handful of Bruce Lee movies from the 70s. And what's very interesting about this film is, like, we were talking, the reason we discussed this film in the previous pod is because we watched Big Trouble in Little China, and I was wondering, like, when did we get to the point in like martial arts films where it became fun, like the humor? And you said it's Jackie Chan, and like you really do see it here, because like I think of like Bruce Lee films, they're quite serious, and then you watch like this film, for example, and Jackie Chan has so much humor, like, and sometimes it really interrupts in quite odd places where it's just like something stupid happens, you know.
Because Bruce Lee was about sort of bringing traditional China to cinema, and he really wanted to target Hollywood. He was like, you know, he wanted to be the first Asian superhero, basically the first superstar. And, you know, like things like the Green Hornet, when he was in the Green Hornet, that was not called the Green Hornet in China. It was called the KO Show. And like KO was the sidekick to the Green Hornet, but KO did all the beating up. You know, the Green Hornet had a gun, and like Kato was like the actual badass. So like, yeah, Bruce Lee really wanted to bring China to Hollywood. He really did. And like Enter the Dragon was like his sort of love, you know, his real love. You know, he really wanted to stress, you know, Asian culture and Chinese culture within the movie, make it really relevant. And I think most people probably watched the Bruce Lee cut. He did a cut of the film. They recut it for the theatrical release, and they cut a lot of this, like, you know, nods to Chinese culture and sort of like um, the mental, um, the mental kung fu that comes with the training of martial arts. Like, you're not just training your body, but you're training your mind. All these things, like, and they got rid of these, you know, moments in the dialogue. And I suppose they do slightly slow the movie down, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think I can see why they cut it like back in the 70s, because they want the movie to be fast paced. But
And probably they thought that people weren't very interested in that as well. We just want to see the
exactly.
action.
Exactly. So I can see the choice that they made. I just don't agree with it. Whereas Jackie, he didn't need to do that. That had already been achieved by Bruce. So I think Jackie is sort of responsible for making it more accessible and like even more mainstream. Like, you know, when you watch a Jackie Chan movie, you definitely have a certain expectation. You have expectations going in. You know, it's probably going to be a comedy. You'll rarely see Jackie in a serious film. You'll rarely see him as a bad guy. They do exist movies where he's a bad guy, but not many. So yeah, I think that's the difference. Like, Jackie basically made martial arts global. Bruce Lee took it to Hollywood, but Jackie made it like accessible to children, even like family friendly martial arts. That what was that movie with Owen Wilson that he did, and it was in the Wild West? You know, and I forget what it was called, but if you
Shanghai
watch that,
Noon.
Shanghai Noon, if you watch that, that is so kid friendly. Like, it's not, it's an action movie. There's a lot of violence in. There is no way you could call that anything but a family friendly adventure movie, honestly. So Jackie really is responsible for that. So they're both integral to the genre.
What I was going to say is that this is actually my second note. Like, Jackie Chan is really the Charlie Chaplin of China. Like, he really he takes the martial arts and he marries it with like the being the
with
clown.
slapstick.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like that's a multi-talented thing, that like just to take these two huge elements of physical performance, I guess, the slapstick of Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton or whoever from these old times, that was relatable to everybody. Everybody, that's accessible to everybody on every level, and then marry it with martial arts, which is like just booming at the time. Like, it's like it's a force to be reckoned with.
It's true. It's true, because you know what, the success cannot be scoffed at. He's definitely an amazing amount of success with this, you know, formula to marry these
Definitely.
together. So yeah, I think you're right, and I'm pretty sure he cited Chaplin as like one of his bigger influences, and Buster Keaton as well. They're like huge influences on his work. There's a movie. I forget what it was now, but there is it's one of these old Hong Kong films that he did, and he hangs from a clock, and it's meant to be a reference to Harold Lloyd.
This might be the other the sequel to Shanghai Moon, the one that's set in London. I think there is something like that with a clock, but I might be wrong.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like Police Story or something. Maybe Shanghai Noon. No, the other one, the other Shanghai film.
Shanghai Nights, I think it was called, or something stupid. I can't remember that one too well.
I'm going to have to rewatch them both. Well, you know what? Because we've chatted for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, we haven't talked about the film that we've watched at all yet. So look, listeners, I think me and Craig have a lot to say about this stuff. So I am going to suggest that this isn't going to be a one-off. I think we should welcome everyone, including you, Craig, because I'm just off the dome. Welcome to Jackie Chan Month.
Oh, can we do the police
Exclusively.
ones? The police
We'll do
ones.
we'll do Police Story as well. Yeah, I think we should probably do Police Story 1 and Police Story 3 because we can't do all of them because we got other Jackie Chan films to do. But I think, well, maybe we should just do Police Story 3, aka Super Cop. It's probably the best one.
Okay, we'll discuss this most
And
definitely.
I'm pretty sure Michelle Yeoh's in that one. Oscar-winning actress Michelle Yeoh. So yeah, should we do that? Jackie Chan month? I'm down.
Yeah, right before Halloween month, right?
Okay, yeah. All right. So listeners, this is it. You hear it here first. Today, this month, September. Sorry, what month are we in? September is Jackie Chan month. October will be horror month. Don't know what November will be, but December will do Christmas movie month.
Yeah, we're organized.
There you go. There you go. You heard it here first. So let's get on to this movie.
Should I give us a brief rundown of what happens in this film?
Go for it, Craig.
So
jump on it.
We are in like a Shaolin temple. I'm actually not sure what year it's supposed to be because it's supposed to, I guess, be like 1800s, but there is one point where someone mentioned something about X-ray, and I'm thinking, what, isn't that like 1900s? So we have Jackie Chan, who plays Yi Lang. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's exactly how you'd imagine him to be. He's a bit of a goofball, and I think he's constantly in trouble and being punished for not.
I will just say one thing about his character name. You know, in all these movies that he did from the 70s, when they get dubbed, his name's always Jackie. They didn't want to confuse the like American audiences. And a lot of them, later ones, he insists on doing his own dubbing as well.
Good on him.
Yeah.
So then, what basically happens is there is this important book, like the Seven Deadly Fists or something, and it's stolen from the library of the temple
by a masked man.
Yeah, who defeats everybody to get to it. And we later find out that some guy has stolen it to give it to his son, so he can like basically take over all the Shaolin temples.
I mean, that comes later, doesn't it? That's like the twist. We'll get to that. Yeah,
kind of the twist, but it's kind of said at the beginning as well. But I think they hit the face or something.
Yeah, he was a masked man.
Yeah,
with also a completely different physique.
Like, yeah, a completely different.
Yeah, the outfit completely changes his physique. Oh, brilliant! I love those little bits.
Yeah. And so what happens next is the top guys in the temple, they kind of punish themselves to be locked away for like 100 days or whatever. And I think some of the other guys are also locked away, including Yi Lang, for like 3 days or something, because they were supposed to, stop intruders getting in. And so the bad guy, who now has his book, now starts basically going around defeating everybody and like taking their badge, whatever that means, like I guess to be the guy in charge of that region. And one night, some like a comet or something comes out of the sky and hits the library, and these ghosts come alive. These 5 ghosts, and Yi Lang, Jackie, is the only one who pretty much is brave enough to pretty much go up there and kind of fight them. And I did have a note about this, about him being the fool. So he's the only one who's wise enough to do this shit. And he
often did that. He often plays like the fool in these old films.
Yeah, this is the Chaplin influence. And he learns basically because each ghost is like, I think there's one is a snake, one is a crane, one is a tiger, one is a leopard,
And a dragon.
and a dragon. Yeah, and each of them have like a special like fighting technique, and he is only by learning these can he defeat the bad guy. And yeah, he learns them. And long story short, he beats up a girl. Some guy dies. And eventually the bad guy comes. There's a twist at the end that one of the older guys is the father of
Well,
the bad guy. By the way, random thing
he's the
about the
head
bad
of
guy.
he's the head of the monastery. He's the
Yeah,
head of the Shaolin temple, and he's
the
been like
bad.
assimilating himself over the last 30 years to get his revenge.
Yeah, and you only find out the bad guy's name about 20 minutes before the end. I'm pretty sure because like the whole
And
time I had no idea who he was, and they finally say, "Ah, Luck Ching." Okay, like just saying this like at the very end of the film. And as you can probably imagine, the two guys go head to head. Luck Ching is killed, and then Jackie Chan has to fight the boss of the temple and kills him too. And then it's like
yeah,
a freeze frame ending.
so like that ending, he leaves the temple to find the seven deadly fist guy. He finds him, fights him one round, then they get the fight stopped and like come back in 7 days. Like that's normal. All right, fine. I'll wait to kill this guy for 7 days for seemingly no reason. Then round two, Jackie beats him, and then you think that's the end, and then boom, twist ending. The main monk actually the real bad guy. It just reminded me of like playing Tekken, and you've like True Ogre in in Tekken 3, where you fight Ogre, you think you win the game, and then he transforms into like an even more powerful bad guy. So like, yeah, it just reminded me of playing Tekken or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, well, these films like this inspired those games, so it makes total sense.
I mean, yeah, I think Enter the Dragon like is exactly, fighting, tournament, format, and that's like, yeah, okay, that's a fighting game. Why haven't they made a Mortal Kombat fighter, Tekken kind of game out of the Enter the Dragon movie? Why haven't they done that? That would be fucking awesome. I'd love that. Give me that game. Oh, I'm going to make that game. Everyone, pay me money. Give invest. Let's make an Enter the Dragon game. Oh my god, that'd be insane. So yeah, did you like this film?
I thought it was fun. Yeah, I'm not really too big
I mean,
on
did you
these
men-
kinds of films.
did you mention in your plot breakdown that the book is haunted? They're proper like dumb ghosts. Like they just want to
Yeah,
fuck about with you. They don't want to hurt
no,
you. They just want to like fuck about with you.
I forgot to mention that bit. Yeah, they are important for the end because they help.
It's literally the hook of the movie. Is Jackie Chan teaming up with five ghosts?
Yeah, and it's a great bit, by the way. There's some really odd moments in this film, but there's one bit where when he first discovers the ghosts, and I can't remember exactly what he did, but somehow he puts like he becomes very authoritative towards them, and they start listening to him and doing what he says. And at one point, they run into a crevice, as they say in the subtitles. They run into this little crack in the wall, and Jackie Chan's like, "Okay, fine, if you want to hide in there," and he just starts peeing
Yeah.
on his, and it's just so small, and they're just being pissed on, like, and it's a library, by the way, as well, and like, yes, that's a very odd moment.
Speaking of odd moments, the treatment of women, or especially Jackie Chan's treatment of the
One woman
female.
specifically. There's only one woman in this film.
Well, yeah, true. There's one woman, and she is taken for an absolute mug. I felt terrible for her. Jackie Chan basically sexually harasses her twice, and both times it's like, I think the first time it was like, let me, grab your tits or something,
Let me feel
and
your bum.
or let me feel your bum, and they were fighting over, like, he's like, if I beat you in a fight, I'll grab your bum, and it's like, you're what? You fucking what? Why is this not behavior in this movie? So he does that, and then he trains he's like, ghosts, I need you to train me because I really want to touch this chick's bum. Are you what? And then they do it. They're like, of course. Yeah. Pew, pew, pew. And then
and
boom,
then
he beats the shit out of her and spanks her with his fucking shoe until she cries.
and then
And
he's
then her
like, "Why are
dad
you
dies.
crying?"
Yeah, why are you crying? Oh my God. And then her dad dies, like straight up. She goes to tell her dad, and he's dead. She had a terrible day. Poor girl.
And then what's
Great.
even weirder, later in the film, when Luk Ching comes to her place, that the I don't know, is it a palace or wherever, and he wants to take over. Yi Lang just appears on the roof and he says, oh, I've got it written down somewhere. Where did I put it? Like, shame on you bullying a wee girl. And it's like, man, you fucking sexually abused her and then beat the shit out of her. And now, like, you're saying this, really? And
Exactly.
then
He had the fucking cheek to have, like, take the higher ground in terms of
yeah,
treatment of women. Are you fucking same girl? And then
same girl.
she runs to Jackie for help.
Yeah, suddenly they're friends. When did that
Yeah.
happen?
Oh, mate. Yeah. A bit nuts, that. A bit nuts. Not going to lie. What's his name again? Luk Chin? Is that it? Is that the bad guy?
Luk
Luk
Ching,
Chin?
yeah, the
Luk
bad
Ching.
guy.
So, yeah, we don't really see much of him until, like, towards the end of the movie, really. He pops up every now and again, so his story's still there, but it's not there for long, is it? But
He's always
so,
just like 2 minutes of him beating up some guy, and then
so
his
did
assistant
you
puts his cape back on him. Oh, well
so did
done, master.
so he's going to each temple and he's beating up everyone at the temple, and then he's what, taking a badge or something, or an
Yeah.
insignia. So he's collecting all of mate, this guy's fucking Ash from Pokemon.
I felt you were gonna say that.
Seriously though, he is going around gym to gym beating all the gym leaders and taking their badges so he can be the very best.
Speaking of like other influences in cartoons and anime, I was
Mm.
thinking about Jackie Chan's influence on Goku in Dragon Ball as well,
Oh
because
yeah,
in Dragon Ball, Goku is pretty like kind of like a goofball, but when shit gets serious, he's like the best fighter that can't be defeated, and it's kind of like
yeah.
Jackie Chan, and also Dragon Ball, although it's Japanese, has a lot of influence on like a lot of the influence comes from China as well. So I'm wondering actually
Hmm.
if there was an influence like Jackie Chan had on these kinds
Well,
of shows.
I know, because you have always been surprised that I never watched Dragon Ball Z.
I
You've
loved it.
always, I know you like it, and I remember you being really surprised that, like me, I wouldn't have watched Dragon Ball, but I never had Cartoon Network. Um,
Oh,
I know I missed out on a few things. I still got Dexter's Lab though on CITV. I think that's where it was on. But yeah, like, I know of Dragon Ball Z. You've told me a lot about it, and I anytime you talk about like this Super Saiyan thing, but it does sort of make me think of a couple of other Jackie movies from this era. There's one called Drunken Master. Have you heard of this one?
I know of this one. I recently. How old is this film, by the way, Drunken
So,
Master?
well,
Because it
the
came out.
first one, the first one is like, I think maybe 1977, maybe no, 6. I think it was like a year before this one. Um, and it's like, I love it. It's one of my favorite Jackie movies ever made. I really like this movie, but like, there is one. He's training, and then like in the fight, he's using all the martial arts and he's getting stronger and stronger. Then the bad guy starts, beating him down. And the only way he can defeat him is by getting drunk. So he starts drinking alcohol to basically get more powerful. And then he wins. And it's, all the Super Saiyan stuff, it just makes me think of that. You always have to have that moment in a fight. Like it's the structure, isn't it? You have to have a moment where the hero looks like he's going to be defeated. You need to have that. You need to feel those stakes. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. You'll know what the outcome is going to be.
There is another trope that I was thinking of that I've seen in many animes, especially where there is like, especially Dragon Ball, is where they say the name of the fighting move they're going to do before they do it. Like there was in the final fight between Yi Lang and
Tiger Leaping Claw.
Yeah, he's saying the move before he does it, and it's like they do this all the time in these shows.
Did you ever watch Jack and Adventures, the cartoon?
I did. I remember that show.
There was a character who exclusively would yell, like he was the only character that would do it, but every time he threw a punch or whatever, he would yell what the move was. But it's just a shame that Jackie Chan doesn't voice the character himself. Like,
I didn't know that.
But then he would pop up at the end of every episode. Hey kids, don't do drugs or whatever. It was a different one every episode, but his clothes never changed. So you knew that they'd shot all of these like in one day, like in Jackie's like garage or something. And he's just hitting a punch bag. And they just shot it all in one day and put them in like every episode. So it feels like his presence is there, but his involvement didn't stretch further than 8 hours. His
involvement is literally just that his name is on it.
Yeah. But I do really like Jackie Chan Adventures. It is a good laugh. Maybe we should do that as well this month.
Collecting the talismans. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Pokemon again.
Yeah.
So back to spiritual kung fu. Back then, so you'll notice the more we watch these movies for Jackie Chan month, he used to spell his name with a Y instead of an IE.
I did actually notice that, yeah.
I'm not sure what called for the change. I tried to look into it, couldn't find it. So perhaps it's just, maybe when he did his first movie in Hollywood.
Yeah, I imagine it probably had something to do with transitioning to Hollywood.
Yeah. But I've got a feeling that he does go up by Jackie with IE pretty soon after this film.
Okay. I have some random questions on this film, by the way.
Hit me.
I don't know too much about Buddhism, but this is supposed to be a Buddhist temple, right? Is this not a bit offensive towards Buddhists?
I would say if you do anything disrespectful, to Buddhism, people don't like it if they're Buddhist. But it can be a setting, and as long as you're respectful of it. So, like for example, with this movie, you have one dodgy monk, one guy that was a bit salty and spent 30 years becoming like the main monk at this Shaolin temple to get revenge. So his intentions were ill, but every other person at this monastery, at this temple, are noble Buddhists, good people, fight for the right reasons, fight for justice, and fight for, Chinese tradition and all this, right? So is it really that disrespectful? I think they respect the religion. They just use it as a setting. And of course, it's a familiar thing as well. If you're Buddhist, it's a very familiar setting, much like any movie in the West that is centered around Christianity. It's familiar. You don't really need to explain it because you already know about it. So you don't need to justify it. It's a very easy setting, to base.
What about the students? Because the students are a bit misbehaved.
young people often go to train to be monks, not because they want to, but because it will like make the family look good, or it's just expected of them. It's like, okay, you do that for like 5 years, and then you can go back to normal life, but everyone will respect that you did it for 5 years. So, you know, there's a lot of that going on, and it's known. So there is often going to be people at the temple that are a bit mischievous, are troublemakers, you know, but they just need to mature out of it. That would probably be the mindset. Like, yeah, this just happens. They'll mature out of it once they've been at the temple long enough, sort of thing. You're at the temple to learn to not be, a troublemaker. So yeah, I think it's not that bad. I'll say this: there is a line. There is a line where Jackie gets caught saying something disrespectful.
I think it was something like the monk on the fence or something, wasn't it?
The monk on the fence. Well, I have in my hand the line of dialogue that was in the dub.
Go on.
Jackie calls the stew Saint's Doom. And then they all look at him confused. And then he goes, because even the saints would be tempted by it. And then that's when the monk catches him. And then the monk goes, it may be Saint's doom. Now it's your doom.
Oh,
that's why I really wanted you to watch it dubbed, because the dub is just dumb, but fun. It's really fun dub.
Speaking of
dub
that,
fun.
by the way, there is a lot of different versions of this film from what I've read on Wikipedia. And there like a lot of small minor changes that I don't know if they will make sense. I'm not sure what's going on.
I mean, well, this is the thing. My copy was called Karate Ghostbuster. Why is it spiritual kung fu in America, but Karate Go? I don't even think it's Karate Ghostbuster in the UK. Just the copy I had a label on it that said Karate Ghostbuster. Weird.
Well, my guess, I'm not even sure because I noticed in the dubbing, not the dubbing, sorry, the subtitles, they seemed a bit more British orientated. Like from what I watched, like they were saying like "we go" or "my mates" or something like this, like kind of Britishisms. And I was thinking, okay, maybe because probably this kit was released in Hong Kong in the 70s, it was still a British colony. Yeah, I think it could be a number of reasons. But I don't, yeah, it's very odd to have so many different versions. I also read that, for example, there's a Korean version and pretty much everything is the same, but there is one scene with a door that is shot slightly differently for some reason, and no reason why. It's slightly different for some obscure reason.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah, well, from what I read anyway, it's quite odd. By the way, speaking of shooting style, shooting and everything, because one of the reasons why we started talking about this film in the first place when we were talking about Big Trouble in Little China is you were saying about how you didn't think that a Western director like John Carpenter was as in tune with shooting martial arts as many of the pros from Asia. Because you were saying about the timing and everything, about getting the shot just right, like starting a bit before or something. And I was thinking when watching this film, like how shooting action has changed so much because we have so many cameras now. Like for example, imagine shooting one of the fight scenes. You wouldn't have just one camera shooting it. You probably have 3 or 4 from different angles, so you can get different things. But back then, at the time, I guess it probably wasn't a massively big budget movie. They probably just had one camera.
Oh,
so
dude,
all the fighting is just one shot, basically.
these movies are cheap, and they'd not come out fast as well. That they were really cheap to make, and of course, I don't like the actors weren't getting paid. Like they all got paid the same. Like they weren't getting paid a huge amount. Like Jackie's output was huge, but that like he was getting paid like it was just a normal job. Working at Tesco or something. I mean, he was getting famous, but like his income wasn't huge. I I think that's why he pushed for America, so he could actually make some proper money.
Yeah.
And there's also rumors that the Hong Kong cinema scene was sort of controlled by the triads. So like there's like conspiracy theories about Jackie sort of being in bed with the triads. But God knows if
Really?
that's true or not. Yeah, I mean, it could just be conspiracy nonsense, but it's something that I see pop up quite a lot on the internet. Um,
Uh, for me, that kind of falls in line with the same stupid stuff like that Bruce Lee died and became Jackie Chan. It's just stupid kid
well,
shit, I think. Yeah,
the people
I
actually
don't think there's
that.
anything there. Well, back in the day, wasn't that something stupid that kids used to say? I also noticed, by the way, he's the stunt coordinator in this film too.
Oh
So,
yeah, Jackie was basically the coordinator in all of these flicks.
mm. By the way, that reminds me, I saw something recently. I forget which film it is. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember the title. There's one film where he slides down a building that's like has a 45-degree angle, like window
Who am
thing.
I? Who am I?
Yeah, that he really did that, apparently.
Yeah,
Apparently, that
I,
really is him.
I
It's
know,
insane.
dude. Trust me, it's Jackie Chan month. I'm going to suggest all the movies this month, and you're going to see some insane stunts. Police Story 1 has a crazy stunt that he nearly died doing. And I'll show you Armor of God 2 as well. Armor of God 1's all right. God 3 is too modern. Armor of God 2 is just really good. We're going to watch that. And there's a
All
stunt
right.
in that where he nearly died. And I'm going to show you all these movies where he nearly died. They're amazing. I love them. I'm a huge Jackie fan. What did you think about ghosts themselves?
When I first saw them, I thought they were women, and then realized, they're not.
Mm.
Then there'd actually be more than one woman in this film. I was thinking probably when they did that effect of making them like kind of transparent, this must have been
Mm-hmm.
a huge like technical advancement
Yeah,
back then.
yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, it's. I would say because I've got fond memories of this film because I used to watch it literally as a toddler. Um, Watching it now, those ghosts really slow the movie down for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the humor really works when I'm an adult. If I'm honest, with when when I was a kid, I was like waiting for all the ghost action, and now I'm like, oh, can we just get to the fighting? The ghosts off. I'm like, yeah, I really didn't like the ghosts. I've sort of ruined this film in my mind for myself after what.
Oh.
Yeah, uh, there's one scene that I love, really good action scene where he has to go by like an 18-man trial, and he has to fight 18 monks. I think it was 18 anyway.
Yeah.
I love that fight. I love that
I
fight.
I think I enjoyed that fight more than the final fight, actually, when I think
Yeah,
about it.
I think so too. I mean, I do like the final fight. It's the interruption by the ghosts that ruin it for me. I wish I could have just saw Jackie beat up the bad guy, off his own, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I agree. I think the 18-month battle is way more fun, compelling to watch, and just a great action scene, great martial arts choreography, everything. It's breathtaking. The only criticism I have, is when you have a big group fight you'll notice they just come at him one at a time. They don't all just
Yeah.
go for him. And yeah,
Well,
that
you say that, but there is one point where they do with their sticks, and they all just kind of like pin him in the air, and it always
oh,
looks
yeah,
quite cool.
I remember that bit. There's a lot of bits in that sequence where I think they shot it and then like played it in reverse to make
Hmm.
it like he's just a fucking acrobatic god. They do
And
that
this,
in these movies, and
yeah, I had something I wanted to say. By the way, about half of my notes almost are from the end of this movie because so much random stuff happens at the end. Like so much is
yeah,
revealed, including the bad guy's name and the fact that the other monk is his father. Um, I remember when we were at university. I can't remember who was our lecturer at the time, but we saw a little bit. I think it was Seven Samurais,
yeah.
which is a Japanese film. And our lecturer, I think it maybe was Lindsay. She was saying something about how in these older martial arts films, uh, usually the old, like for example in Western films, we see strength as being literally like a big muscular guy, but in these older uh, martial arts films, the older you are, the more powerful you are. So
Yeah,
if
you've got
you
more wisdom, more knowledge, more experience. Like,
Yeah, so the older guys are always more dangerous and more
mm,
powerful than the younger guys. Even if they're like they don't look it, they look like they're going to fall over if you just pinch them. And I was wondering if there's something similar going on here because the most powerful guy in the film is the
the
bad monk.
oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an old guy, and
Mm.
I'm wondering if again if there is something here with like wisdom. The older guys are more powerful than the younger guys.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, and then like sort of Jackie's story in a lot of these movies is about like sort of breaking tradition to you know be your own person within obviously within rules and restrictions, but be your own person and still respect all of these traditional values. It seems to be the plot and character arc of pretty much all of these films that he did in Hong Kong. He's always playing like the the fool who is able to himself. So then by the end of the film, he can take out anything really. Um, but I think you're right. I think there is this trope that the older you are, the more powerful you are in like certainly in these martial arts flicks. Like even Yoda in Star Wars gets that treatment in the prequels, and
Mm.
uh, like bloody Kung Fu Panda, the little Dustin Hoffman raccoon thing. He's like a badass, but he's it's the same trope. But did you notice that in that fight with the main bad guy, with the biggest bad guy, um, every time there was a cut, um, his physique changes because it's not him for most of that fight.
Yeah,
It's not him. It's exactly the same issue from the beginning of the where the masked man who is has a completely youthful physique rather than that of an old uh, monk. And this guy,
yeah.
anytime you do see him actually playing himself in the fight, he can barely move because he is
I
an old
also,
guy.
yeah, but it wasn't just him that I noticed that with as well. The other bad guy, Luke Ching, who by the way has a very weird haircut in this film. I don't know if you noticed how his hair went back. He also is
That's
very
like
like, but
that's about what my haircut's like at the minute.
yeah. I know actually, I think it's also just a comparison to Jackie Chan. If you put anybody in terms of like physical agility, uh, if you compare them to Jackie Chan, everyone's gonna look wooden. Like
Yeah.
the look Ching, he, I noticed that when he's fighting Jackie, he doesn't really like his core body, his torso even is doesn't move as much as Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan is rolling around, jumping around. He's like doing like he spends a lot of time on the floor, by the way, doesn't he? And like
Mm.
kicking, like kind of flipping around. And like, yeah, if you put anybody in comparison to Jackie Chan, you're gonna look not unhealthy, weak,
This is
I
it. I
guess.
mean, he is sort of like peak physical condition in this era of his career. Like, because by the time he breaks Hayward, like he is getting on a bit, you know.
He's in his
Um,
40s, most definitely.
mm, he'd already had a very, very vibrant career before breaking Hollywood. And, I think Rush Hour was really like, I know he was in Cannonball Run, but like Rush Hour, I think was really the film that made him a superstar in Hollywood, I'd guess. And in
Mm.
Rush Hour, like, when was Rush Hour? Like, early 2000s, maybe. Um,
No, Rush Hour is a 90s film.
really?
Definitely. Rush Hour came out in 1998.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it is 1998. Oh, damn. So how old's Jackie there?
Let's
Let-
see. See when he was born. He was born in 1954.
So yeah,
So
he was in
what,
it. He was like
44?
45, 44 when he did Rush Hour. So yeah, like yeah, you're right then. 40s. He was in his 40s when he was really cracking America. Um so yeah, he'd
Yeah.
already had like a 20-year career where he was already a massive superstar in Asia. And obviously there were people in the West that were big fans of his, those that were fans of
Mm.
Bruce Lee probably, you know, went out of their way up some more, martial arts films that they wouldn't have seen otherwise. Like I say, Bruce Lee did bring it to America. He gave America this thirst for it. He gave them a taste and they wanted more.
Yeah. I was also thinking about this film and Jackie Chan's films in general and comparing them to like Bruce Lee and Jet Li and other martial arts stars. And like it doesn't, even when it's trying to be serious and not a comedy, it still doesn't feel as intense and serious as these other martial arts movies. Like I think of like Bruce Lee movies as very serious, and then I see this one, and it just doesn't feel as violent as in this intense emotions, you
No,
know?
no, I agree that there's like I say, this is sort of family friendly, right? Kind of feels like a
Almost, I would say.
cartoon. Yeah, it feels like a cartoon in a lot of places.
People,
Um,
women do get abused and people do get pissed on, but yeah, it's a
y-
family film.
yes, but let's not forget Pepe Le Pew exists. Well, do you have anything more to say about spiritual kung fu?
Not really. I was gonna say
I think
how
I'm pretty,
like
pretty done. Go on.
yeah, I was gonna say just about the end, like how it just kind of just a freeze frame and that's it. And like,
Yeah,
does
again,
this?
it happens a lot in these movies. Like they just sort of end right after the final fight. Like that's your
Yeah,
resolution. That's your ending. Boom, end.
I was wondering if I don't know. Do we need closure though? Maybe that's enough. The bad guy lost. That's
I
it. I
think.
mean,
I suppose, like having more closure is like because Hollywood format. You want to have resolution, and then you want to have an ending. And you know, some of these films, they'll, because I suppose maybe that because the martial arts is the center of focus of the film, that it's like, well, he defeated the bad guy. Like Rocky. Rocky always ends on like at the end of the fight. I mean, well, not all of them. Like the more modern ones don't. We often have an extra scene. But yeah, I suppose when the fight is the focus, then winning the fight is the ending. So yeah, maybe you're right. IMDb rates this film a 5.7. How would you rate this one?
I think
Out
that's a pretty harsh rating. I'd probably give it a bit higher than that because it's
really interesting. Well,
well, like the
give it
way I
out.
got the way I think of it, you got to think about the age of it at the time, the lack of a budget,
Mhm.
um, and
Okay, so
also I like to think of the influence.
how many ghosts out of a book are you going to give it?
I mean, it has to be out of five ghosts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Uh, I'd probably give it maybe. I don't know. What? 3.5 ghosts, maybe. So it's a bit of an improvement
What?
on a 5. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good little film to watch. I'm
So
not
if you're
sure I'll
doing,
watch it again.
but hang on. So if you did it out of 10, you give it a 7.
6 or a 7, yeah. I'll give it definitely more than a 5.7. That's for sure. At least 6 to
Interesting.
7.
Interesting. All right, 3.5 ghosts out of 5, or 6 to 7 out of 10. Interesting.
What
I'm
would you give it?
surprised. Oh, well, I think 5.7 is probably really fair, if I'm
Yeah,
honest. Yeah, I think it's fair.
but
Um,
what do you think in terms of influence? Because that's usually how I rate it. When I think of a film is very influential in inspiring other things, I'm more likely to give it a bit of a higher rating, I think.
I tell you what, um, I think it's mainly because I'm a fan of the genre. I've watched a lot of these movies. I know how good they are outside of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say this is probably one of his weaker offerings.
Ah,
It's the- So now that we've decided we're doing Jackie Chan month, I assure you, this is going to be the worst movie that we watch.
okay. Okay, that's fair
I
enough.
got a lot more. I would influence. Let's do the next episode. We'll do a movie that came out a year before this that really did set the groundwork, that really did influence most of Jackie's films coming afterwards. And it's Drunken Master. So let's do Drunken Master
Okay.
for the next episode.
All right, Drunken Master it is then.
Yeah. I actually love this movie. Some people think it's a different movie. He made two. He made Drunken Master in 77 or 78, and he did Legend of Drunken Master maybe in the 90s. And it seems the
Uh-huh.
Legend of Drunken Master is the one that most people have seen. And not many
Yes,
people I've
because
spoken to have seen the original, which is the one I've seen the most.
yeah, because when I was looking at this spiritual kung fu on Wikipedia, and I was seeing it came out roughly the same time. So I was like, really? Because in my head that's a much more recent film. I didn't realize that there was 2 films.
Yeah, and the second one is a way bigger budget. I'm not really sure if it's a sequel or like just a like it is a genuine martial art. So perhaps it's just another movie completely separate where the guy uses drunken boxing. So it could just be that.
I have something. I think we should watch both of them and compare.
Sure. What if for one episode we do both
Yeah,
Drunken Master? All right, I'm well up for that. All right,
I think we
everyone.
have to do both.
You've heard it here first. The next episode will be Drunken Master and the Legend of the Drunken Master, uh, which has a way bigger budget and a really impressive stunt at the end.
We're
Can't
doing it. We're doing
see
it.
it. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out to listen to us. We are Film Shrapnel. Check us out on Twitter at Film Shrapnel, capital F, capital S, and TikTok. Craig, do you have anything to say to the lovely listeners?
Keep tuned for more Jackie Chan stuff coming soon.
Coming soon, very soon. I'm so pumped for this, Craig, that I hope we can actually do maybe a couple more films than we normally do in a month because I want to watch loads of Jack. I've got so many ones that I want to show you. Maybe we'll have to do a couple of double features because I've just got so many I want to watch and get your opinion on.
Okay, yeah, we'll decide. We'll decide.
All right, man.
All
Okay,
right.
take care, everyone. Much love.
Take care.
Shrapnel.